At the beginning of the story, we are shown an airport in Korea. At this airport, we see a man named Ryu who was wandering here and there. After some time, he goes to the ticket counter and asks the staff there on which flight today the maximum number of passengers are traveling. On this, the lady says, "I cannot give you this information." Maybe because it is against airport policies to share passengers' information. Now, after hearing this knowledge, Ryu gets a little irritated and walks away angrily. At the same airport, we see a little girl standing in line with her dad. This girl's name is Saman and her dad's name is Park. Saman takes permission from her dad to go to the toilet and goes towards the ladies' washroom. Now, since there was a lot of crowd in the ladies' washroom, Soman had to go to the gents' washroom. Now, after some time, Ryu also comes to the same washroom. He cuts his arm and hides a capsule-like thing inside it. But while he is stitching his wound, he realizes that someone has touched him. He was secretly watching and went ahead to find out. But then Saman's dad came into the washroom, and hearing his voice, Saman came out of the toilet, which means it was Saman who was watching Ryu doing all this. In the next scene, we see a police officer named Inu who is talking to his wife on the phone. Inu's wife was also at the same airport because she was going to Hawaii for her holidays. After finishing the conversation, when Inu reached his office, his colleague Ino showed him a video in which a man was talking about hijacking a plane. Although his colleagues thought the video was fake, still Ino wanted to investigate it. He tracked down the man seen in the video and took a team to his house. Reached there, and when they searched the house, they found a dead body wrapped in plastic. Meanwhile, when Soman is with her dad, Ryu comes to them and asks them where they are going and asks many more questions. Due to this, Park gets a little angry. He shouts at Ryu and walks away with Soman. But Ryu sees the tag on their luggage and understands that both of them are going to Hawaii, and now he too is going to Hawaii. Bought a ticket and went to the plane. During the security check, a metal device came out of his bag, but he escaped by saying that it was an inhaler for asthma. Here, all the passengers started boarding the flight one by one, and among these passengers were Saman and his dad Ino. After everyone arrived, the pilot made an announcement and the plane took off. Shortly after takeoff, Ryo got up from his seat and went to the washroom. Going inside, he opened his wound again and took the capsule. After taking it out, he put this capsule in the asthma inhaler and sprinkled it all over the washroom. On the other hand, when Ino did the post-mortem of this dead body, it was revealed that this man had died due to some poison. Ino's team found this house. Several videotapes were also found in which a man was sprinkling a strange powder on rats. After a few minutes, all the rats started bleeding from their mouths and their bodies started exploding. Now Ino's team realized that this powder was real. There is a kind of virus because the rats that did not come in contact with this powder were also dying one by one. Here, when Ryo came out of the washroom, he saw that Saman was also standing outside the gate, but as soon as the door opened, another man quickly entered inside. Here Ryo whispered something in Saman's ear and went back to his seat. Now the man who was inside the washroom felt something like powder in the air and he started coughing loudly. She complained about this to air roast, and the air hostess also went inside that washroom, while a passenger was watching a video in which a man was threatening to hijack the plane, and this man was none other than Ryu. Park here also saw this video and he immediately recognized Ryu. He quickly reached Soman, who was still standing outside the washroom. He took Soman to the flight staff and showed them the video, but these people still were not sure that the man seen in the video was Ryu. Here Soman tells everyone that Ryu has hidden something in his arm and brought it inside the plane. Moreover, he also whispers in my ear that everyone present on this plane is going to die. Now, after hearing all this, an air hostess goes to Ryu and asks him for his ID, on which Ryu tells her that he is a scientist and he is going to attend a conference in Hawaii, while Ino is going to the airport with her team. Reached, and when they checked the list of passengers, it was revealed that Ryu had boarded a plane going to Hawaii. Here, Ino came to know that his wife was also present in the same plane, and after knowing this, Inu lost his senses. Here in the plane, the man who had gone inside the washroom, his health started deteriorating, blisters appeared on his body and one of his eyes burst out. Then he vomited blood and fell on the ground. Now, seeing this horrifying scene, the plane there was chaos, and by the time a doctor checked the man, he was dead. Here Park blamed Ryu for his death and a scuffle started between the two. Soon the pilot also got all the information. Guy and the control tower told them that there was a passenger named Ryu on the plane who was a danger to everyone. On hearing this, Captain Choi Foreign came out of the cockpit and saw both of them fighting with each other. He separated them with great difficulty and then asked Ryu for his ID. Hearing this, Ryu started running towards the cockpit, but everyone present in the plane overpowered him. By then he had taken out the spray and sprinkled it all around. After this, co-pilot Choi also gave complete information to the captain of the flight, and it was decided that he would not go back to the cockpit so that even by mistake the main pilot of the flight would not get affected by this virus. Meanwhile, Ino's team and government officials together got the complete horoscope of Ryu, and they came to know that Ryu named Bicom. He works in a company. It was a pharmaceutical company that makes medicines for different diseases, but this company also did not help the government and shrugged it off by saying that it had nothing to do with this hijacking. Now, seeing the worsening situation, he suggested that we should ask for the antidote of this virus from Ryu himself. Now everyone liked this idea, and Choi started talking to Ryu on the plane, and the people of the government were also listening to this conversation. Asked Ryu about the antidote, but Ryu did not tell him anything and only kept saying that all the people present on the plane would be killed. After saying this, he also vomited blood, which means that he was affected by this virus. While these things are going on, the plane starts descending rapidly because its main pilot has also died due to the virus. Now the plane was descending rapidly and all the passengers inside were shouting. But before the plane could crash, Park came into the cockpit. He reduced the speed of the plane and pulled the handle to straighten the plane, and now it was revealed that Park also used to be a pilot, but after an accident, he had to leave this job. Then Choi also came here and started controlling the plane by removing the dead pilot from the seat. Now here Ryu was also killed, and a passenger of the plane made a video inside and sent it to different news channels. He was suspicious of the Bicom company, so he went to meet the director of the company. But the guards of the company stopped him at the gate and told him that he could not go inside without a warrant. On hearing this, Ino turned red with anger, and he alone fought with those asses. Here in the plane, the passengers were dying one by one and the condition was getting worse. Seeing this, the flight staff decided to separate the people who were affected by the virus. They were sent to the back of the plane, and those who were not affected were kept in the front of the plane. A few hours passed like this, and now the plane was about to land in the US, but then Choi got a call from the US government and permission to land the plane was not given. The US said that we had no information about this virus and there was a lot of risk in landing this plane. Now Choi had no other option, so he had to send the plane back to Korea. Had to turn aside. Seeing the plane turning back, all the passengers lost their courage. They thought that the plane would land in the US and their lives would be saved, but it did not happen. One good thing that happened during this time was that Ino had the help of an employee of Bicom. A call came and he told them that as soon as the news of the virus spread in the news, an employee named Sangu left the company, and perhaps he was also involved in Ryu's plan. Now Sangu's team immediately reached Sangu's house, but instead of running away, on the contrary, he helped the police. He told the police that the name of this virus was SCV and BRCOM had made it illegal. He said that when the company was making this virus, many of their scientists also got affected by this virus. Now all the scientists were killed, but the life of a lady scientist was saved, and later she said that Ryu had deliberately infected all of them with the virus. When the company came to know about this, they fired Ryu from the job and investigated the matter. San said that after being expelled from Bicom, Ryu contacted me and fraudulently took a sample of this virus. Now after knowing the whole story, Ino went in search of the lady scientist who survived this virus. Here on the plane, Park was helping a caring hostess so that she could give medicines and essential things to everyone. Here Park said that he had to leave his job as a pilot because his plane caught fire, and he went against the orders and called for an emergency. Landing was done, although due to this wisdom, the lives of all the passengers were saved, but unfortunately, 2 air hostesses were killed. While these things were going on, Choi started vomiting blood, and now due to the virus, his condition is also deteriorating. So she requested Park to help her fly the plane. Although Park was scared of flying the plane apart from this, he had no other option. After a few hours, Ino met the lady who survived despite being affected by this virus. Ino went here and told her the whole story and asked about the treatment of this virus. On this, the lady told her that Bicom has the vaccine for this virus. Now the government also got to know about this, and they started putting pressure on Bicom to provide the vaccine. After a lot of effort, the company agreed to provide the vaccine. Choi's health was deteriorating during the flight, and it was becoming very difficult for him to fly the plane. Now that the vaccine for this virus was found, Choi and Park decided to fly the plane. Choi decided to land in Japan, but unfortunately, the Japanese government also did not permit him to land. The Japanese PM believed that this virus is completely new and hence the chances of its vaccine working are very low. However, Choi Park ignored all the orders and started landing the plane at the airport in Japan. But then the Japanese Air Force arrived there and Choi was forced to change his route. Now, due to the virus, his condition worsened and he became unconscious. Here Park landed the plane. Here the people of Korea also started raising questions on this vaccine and many people were against the landing of this plane. Here they tested this vaccine on themselves to save everyone's life. He decided to do this by forcibly injecting this virus inside himself and then the doctors gave him the vaccine. Due to the virus, his condition was worsening and unfortunately, this vaccine also did not work. Now this news spread like wildfire in Korea. The people of Korea became against the landing of this plane. Here, when the passengers came to know about this, they also decided not to land so that their people could be saved from this virus, and the Park told the control tower that all the passengers he decided not to land for the welfare of his loved ones, and after saying this he switched off radio communication so that no one could contact him. After this, all the passengers called their families and spoke to them one last time. Later, the Park started taking the plane towards the sea so that when its fuel ran out, the plane would sink into the sea. But then something happened that no one expected. Ino regained consciousness and her condition also started improving, which means this vaccine. The control tower was working and tried to contact the plane without wasting time, but it was of no use because Park had switched off the plane's radio. Finally, he asked the families of the passengers to call their families and asked them to come back because the vaccine has started working. This trick worked and soon the passengers got the news of the vaccine and they all started jumping with joy. The Park also confirmed this news and the plane turned towards the airport, but when everything was going well, a new trouble knocked. The plane was about to run out of fuel and the airport was still a short distance away. Here everyone felt that the plane would not be able to land. Then Park showed his magic and based on his experience got the plane landed safely. As soon as the plane landed, all the passengers were given medical facilities, and everyone's lives were saved. After a few days, Park went to meet all the passengers and Captain Choi and Ino were also there. Although the virus paralyzed him, due to his bravery, the lives of all the people present on that plane were saved. Here Ino smiles looking at the Park and this wonderful movie ends here.